Are we recording?
We are recording.
All right. We are professionals. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another All the WrestleManias. I'm your co-host, Tim Hackman.
And I'm Rich Sigwald.
We're excited to be back in the studio with you once again. We've got a special episode, a listener request from Nick. He's asked us to take a look at WCW Super Brawl III from way back in 1993. Nick says it's one of the best pay-per-views of the WCW 1993. Actually, he said it's the best pay-per-view of WCW from 1993, and it's a pretty good one. So thanks for the request, Nick. We're happy to give it a watch and talk about it for y'all. As always, you can find us on the web at allthewrestlemanias.com. You can find us on Twitter at WrestleManiaPod. You can shoot us an email at allthewrestlemanias@gmail.com. We're always happy to have listener requests, feedback, comments, questions. We had some good questions lately about Hall of Fame picks. We had some talk on the Facebook page about Demolition and why they're not in the Hall of Fame and why that's a bunch of crap. So we really love that interaction with you guys. So keep the comments and the questions and the requests coming. So, Rich, are you excited about Super Brawl 3?
I am, because this one actually has some interesting and fascinating, backroom shenanigans of history happening in the pro wrestling era here.
Do tell.
Yeah, so one, this is WCW is starting to pull away from NWA, and we see that with a couple matches where they say that this match is fought under NWA rules, and then this match is fought under WCW rules. And the big difference between those two is in WCW rules at this period of time, you could not jump on your opponent from the top rope. If your opponent is prone on the mat, you cannot jump on them. And that was instituted by Bill Watts, who had a short but influential and kind of controversial stay as the executive vice president of WCW. So the story goes supposedly that he watched a match between Brian Pillman and Jushin Thunder Liger, and he did not like all the aerials and stuff like that. He thought it was juvenile and acrobatic and circus-like, even though the crowd apparently ate this match up. And so he decided that WCW needs to go back to old school, needs to be old-fashioned, and needs to be men fighting men in the ring on the mat. It's mat wrestling. And so so he instituted a bunch of rules. So that includes the no moves from the top rope, no more blood. There's some other things. There's absolutely no low blows, even gimmicked low blows from like when the ref isn't looking or anything like that. And that if the wrestler is hit low, they are to make every effort not to sell the move as a low blow. Wrestling outside of the ring was discouraged to the point to where at the normal tapings of WCW Worldwide and such, he had removed the mats from the outside of the ring.
That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Right. To keep them inside. It's like, and I think he also had this philosophy to where if you're going to fight on the outside, it needs to look bad and look painful. So it's kind of
accomplished.
Yeah. And then though this show, there is mats outside of the ring. And then also any kind of use of the ring barricades or the ring posts is forbidden and automatic disqualification. And you may have remembered from our discussion of Wrestle Rock 86, the AWA had the same rule to where if you used the ring post on the outside, it was an automatic disqualification.
Well, that's obviously not in play when we get to the main event of this particular pay-per-view.
No.
But that's okay.
That's technically an unsanctioned match on here. The other...
right.
Yeah. Remember, they didn't sanction it, but they'll certainly televise it and make the money off of it.
Yeah, you put it on TV. Not sanctioned, though.
Yeah. The other thing is that both WCW and the NWA rules have no throwing your opponent over the top rope intentionally. But frequently like a clothesline or a drop kick that sends someone over the top rope is not seen as intentional, that their momentum carried them, that it was not the move themselves. And we've discussed before that pretty much everybody but the WWF had that rule. And in fact, WWF at this point already has a pay-per-view that is themed off of throwing your opponent all over the top rope. So
that kind of seems like a double birds, honestly, to the NWA. Oh, you guys can't do that? Look at this.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole hour of nothing but throwing people over the top rope.
Here's 20 guys going out.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of like that rule because it does add this element of unpredictability. It also puts some heat on the ref, to like in a real sport to kind of make the right call, right? Like, was that a intentional toss over the top, or was it something else? The ref has to make that call. Then I can add some controversy, add some drama. It just adds a little extra layer to a match, which is kind of cool.
It also gives the heel a little bit more heat because he can have the ref distracted while he throws his opponent over the top rope or something like that. It's just an extra illegal move, just like the pile driver or chokes and stuff like that. It's like just one extra tool in the bag of the heel.
Grabbing the tights.
Right, to piss off the audience.
Feet on the ropes.
Yeah.
Foreign object. I'm just going to keep naming things.
Yeah. So there's also two more characters that show up at this pay-per-view. The first one that we notice, this is Jesse Ventura is calling ringside action with Tony Schiavone for this event. And he had actually jumped over to WCW in early 1992 after successfully suing the WWF for lying to him about royalties and such. Basically, when he negotiated his contract, he waived his rights to royalties on videotape sales when he was told that performers in that position would normally not receive royalties. And then he found out that that's not true. And he sued for $2 million. Eventually goes to federal court and he gets $800,000 plus some back pay from WWF. And then suddenly in February of 1992, Jesse Ventura shows up as commentator at Super Brawl II.
With a very shiny head.
Very, very shiny head and a little ponytail thinger that just looks god-awful. You just want to get like your mom's fabric scissors and cut it off.
Not the good scissors. Not the good scissors.
Oh,
it's really gross.
Scissors, yeah.
It's really gross.
And then eventually he is fired from WCW because he supposedly fell asleep during the taping of an episode of WCW Worldwide at MGM Studios. But also it's believed that it may have been connected to Hulk Hogan's arrival, which we know Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan do not get along.
Yeah, no, that lawsuit stuff is fascinating. And, for as much of a kind of an a-hole as Jesse Ventura is, like he also did stand up to Vince several times throughout his career on bullshit like that. And I don't know if he made anything better in the long run for other wrestlers in the business, but I do at least appreciate his integrity. I'm sure, it was for the money, but like, he's like, yeah, what, fuck you, pay me, right? Like, that's kind of cool. I was surprised to see him here. I didn't remember that he had been over at WCW, so he looks pretty much the same except for that bald head and ponytail. Tony Schiavone looks like a baby.
He is a wee little one in this one.
He's a wee one. This is from February 21st, 1993 at the Asheville Civic Center in Asheville, North Carolina. Lovely town. Attendance here is 6,500, so it's a relatively small event compared to some of the things that we've seen. The tagline on this one is more of a sentence. It says, "Witness history in the making at the biggest event of the year." And I guess they ran out of space on the box. They could have just kept on going. That features your favorite wrestlers doing amazing wrestling moves in a stadium with music
ring.
And commentary and rules. Anyway, they're a little more wordy over there at the WCW, I guess.
This choice of Asheville as a place for this event is also connected to Bill Watts, in that Bill Watts believed that WCW should go back to more rural roots and play more dimly lit arenas and small shows, and to draw that wrestling crowd out, I guess. I don't understand that tactic because WWF is putting 90,000 in the Superdome.
Yeah.
in the Pontiac Silverdome. Sorry, yeah, it's an interesting move that but I guess they believe also that they should be doing more shows, but with smaller crowds and stuff like that. Yeah, Bill Watts, an interesting guy.
That's for sure. So the announcers, for the TV here, are Eric Bischoff, again looking like an absolute baby. Actually, I didn't recognize him at first when he came on. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? It took me a good couple minutes to figure it out. Missy Hyatt and Johnny B. Bad, who are announcing here. Johnny B. Bad. So first of all, it sounds like they're in the stadium and the fans seem to be like turning and looking towards them, but it also really looks like they're in front of a green screen. Like it looked like really fake. I couldn't figure out what's going on.
It's the poor lighting. So they had to use the camera on a really small aperture, which blurs the background and just lets you see the foreground, and that lets in more light. But I do pose to you this question: who was wearing more makeup, Johnny B. Bad or Missy Hyatt?
Oh, Johnny B. Bad for sure. It's seriously distracting. Also, so his whole shtick is that he's doing a Little Richard impersonation, but Johnny B. Good is a Chuck Berry song, not a Little Richard song. So he can't even get that right. Also, he's a white guy. Like, I don't know that it's okay for him to be like doing a Little Richard impersonation with that much makeup on. I had some issues.
I don't think I ever realized that Mark Marrow was white.
I'm pretty sure he's an Italian dude. You Google that while I talk a little bit about Max Payne playing the national anthem on a purple electric guitar. His guitar is autographed by a whole bunch of people, but I couldn't read any of them, so I don't know. It could have been like the cast of Cats. I don't really know what was going on. But his guitar is super cool. It's purple. Looks like he got it from a yard sale at Prince's house. And he can actually play it if that was really him playing.
I think that was him playing. It looked like it. It does look like Marrow is probably white. He's from Buffalo, New York. Yeah, I would settle on that. Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Mark Marrow, white guy, probably shouldn't be doing a Little Richard impersonation.
No.
Would not be okay.
Maybe it's just the poor lighting in these WCW arenas.
Sure. Well, at least he didn't do a Chuck Berry impersonation, I guess. That probably would have been worse. So we could at least focus on the makeup. So Max Payne is actually here as a substitute for somebody, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So I don't know who was going to play the guitar if he hadn't come in to sub.
Wow, they got a guitarist named Max Payne, and Max Payne's going to be in a match later. Another guy named Max Payne. Like, I didn't connect that it's the same guy until he came out.
Oh, you're dumb.
Yeah, until he came out for the match. I was like, oh, it is the same guy. Look at that.
Yeah, 2 different people named Max Payne in Asheville, North Carolina on this day. It's quite a coincidence. A lot of people.
Apparently, he did sue the video game makers of Max Payne for using his name, Max Payne.
I was wondering about that. Yeah. I love that game. It's fucking dark. Anyway, it's darker than this. It's darker than the lighting on this intro. That's what. Anyway,
the show starts off too with this segment of like Sting bent over the ropes, being whipped. Was that Barry Windham whipping him? And like Harley
I think
Race,
it was Harley. Yeah,
Harley Race is holding him through the ropes,
yeah.
and like Barry Windham is standing tall and proud behind Sting in an interesting position, whipping him across the back. It's a very suggestive moment to open your pay-per-view with.
Harley Race has really got it in for Sting, because I went back and watched Super Brawl 2 after I finished watching this one, and he's still fucking with Sting in there. So like this is a year later. He's got some problems with that guy.
Yeah, Sting pisses him off.
Yeah,
there's this like, it's probably real heat too. I have a feeling. I don't know.
I mean, I get it in a way, right? Because Harley is, tough old guy, no nonsense, and Sting's got his makeup and he's hollering and he's jumping around like a jackass. And so I get it.
Supposedly California, though no, he's not.
Sure. There's also some fascinating little video clips throughout this pay-per-view telling us the story. This is amazing. I want to look on YouTube to see if somebody put them all together into one continuous short film, because you could submit it to the Academy and it would win an Oscar. That involves Sting taking a helicopter up into the mountains, I think, to find his demons or Vader or both, and hot women. And he was also wearing a tracksuit, and Brian Bos wears sunglasses the whole time. It's amazing.
Every single time one of those segments played, I was just like, "What the hell was that?" And then it was over,
Oh, they're
and
so short.
I didn't know what to do. And it would just be like fake snow blowing on Vader and Sting in a helicopter going, "I gotta go," or something weird like that. Like, what was that? And then it'd just be like Vader, like, "Oh," and like, "Oh,
They're
okay." And then the next match.
they're almost so short that they're like subliminal. Like they're well, anyway. I'm jumping ahead, but there's one. So the first one comes after the first match. He's in his helicopter again in his beautiful blue tracksuit. Brian Bos wears shades. Look that one up, kids. And he's looking out over the snow, and he hears like these taunts from Vader in his head, and he says, "I wonder what this is all about." And I had the same question. Like I don't know. I hope
Yeah,
Sting answers it for us.
yeah, they are so short and so subliminal. It's kind of like that, like this guy, like little bit in Fight Club where they talks about splicing single frames of pornography into children's movies. Like they just come on, you're like, what? And then it's gone. Like,
What?
did I did I see Vader inside of a volcano grunting?
Why?
Is Sting in a helicopter? I don't. Where do these women come from?
It's great.
Why is Harley Race there? I don't understand.
So I thought it was kind of like Dracula's castle, where he's got all his sexy vampire bitches just hanging out. Except Vader is Dracula, because obviously they're drawn in by his sex appeal. It's intense.
That's why he's at White Castle.
Why is he in the White Castle? It was the Jack in the Box was booked. I don't
He
know.
likes those little sliders. Obviously.
Those things are delicious. Well, should we talk about some of these matches? I guess.
Yeah, I
I don't
guess
know.
so. I mean, there were some really great matches in this show too.
Yeah, the first one is a tag team match. It's a pretty long one, actually. It's the Hollywood Blondes, which is Flying Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin, who is blonde and also a baby, versus Eric Watts and Marcus Bagwell. I just noted that this is a stellar lineup, 75% of a stellar lineup, because I don't remember Eric Watts. He looks like a string bean. He has got like zero muscle mass. I think he may have played the Scarecrow in one of the Batman movies, but he's some sort of a submission specialist, I think.
And the
But
crowd hates him.
Yeah. The other guys here are super impressive, though.
Yeah, like every time Watts got in the ring, boo, boo, he's got more heat than anybody else in this match. It was insane. I didn't understand why they hated him, but I mean, I thought he was pretty sloppy in the match. But was he also just like slashing tires in the parking lot before the show, or like stealing candy from everybody's kids in the audience? Wow, there was some real heat against him.
It's Asheville, so he announced before the show that he hates hemp. It's a hippie mecca down there, is what I'm saying. But Marcus Bagwell is a unit. He's like relatively young here. He's just gotten in. He's maybe been in the business like a year. That's what Jesse keeps saying anyway. He's a rookie. Oh, he's a rookie. He doesn't know what he's doing. Blah blah blah.
And he's fairly unrecognizable too, compared to if you're used to how he looked in like the late 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
this is not that Bagwell.
So it's fascinating to watch Austin here because like some of his moves look really familiar. You know, those knee drops when the guy's on the canvas and his stomps and stuff. And you're like, oh shit, it's Steve Austin. But he looks like almost nothing like him, you know? So that was kind of interesting to me. There's some other good stuff here. And what else? What did you want to call out?
He should grow back that blonde hair. Oh my God, that he's got beautiful hair. But yeah, Austin is over. He's really over with the crowd. It's nice to see without him having to be the beer swilling, cussing, finger giving, hate the boss kind of guy. He's over. And there's just a lot of good back and forth in this match. It goes a little long for my tastes. He does a really mean thing to Watts at one point where it was Pillman that does it. Pillman holds Watts' face into the mat and rubs it like he pooped on the carpet.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's just vicious.
Bad dog.
Yeah. Steve had some great vocalizing in this. It's like he's been watching some Ric Flair tapes or something. Bagwell did a very nice cross body, which was impressive. But I was annoyed through a lot of this match because there's a fan in the front row with a crutch. And she kept holding it up for some ungod known reason. And it's actually blocking the camera, the hard cam view of this match. And so, like, frequently, suddenly this crutch pops up into the frame and is, like, waving all over the place. And, like, I hope someone's going to take that crutch one time and hit somebody with it.
Beat her with it?
I don't know what's happening.
Maybe she was hoping one of the wrestlers would see it and grab it, but it's not that kind of match. Yeah, that was annoying. Who does that? Like, look at my injury, you guys.
Tony Schiavone yells at Jesse Ventura for not talking enough during this match, and he does it a couple other times. And Ventura is just like, "I'm taking in the action."
Those two do not seem to get along very well at all.
No,
they kind of bitch at each other in a slightly too realistic way multiple times throughout this.
Well, I mean, it really starts after Ventura calls Tony Vince McMahon at one point.
Yikes.
He hasn't been in WWF for a year at this point, and he barks back something like, "Well, that's just the way it is, McMahon." And like, then there's this silence, and then Tony barks at him, "Well, you could talk more, you know." So they go at each other's throat a lot through this entire pay-per-view, but Ventura does land this beautiful line. Austin steps onto the back of Bagwell, I believe it was, who was on the mat, and Austin, just as like a mean taunt, just like stands on his back. And Jesse Ventura says, "If that happens in Japan, it's erotic." And then Schiavone just replies, "Tokyo is a long way from Asheville."
What? What? Okay.
Yeah.
I have questions. I'll Google it after this.
Yeah.
I don't. Safe search off. I did like Pillman faking the knee injury, asks for a timeout, and then turns it into a sneak attack. I say Pillman verges on overselling here a little bit. He does a lot of the, like, the Ric Flair hands up begging stuff. It gets close to being too much, but it's really good. I enjoyed this match quite a bit. The finish is there's a snap suplex from Bagwell, and he gets the pin, but then Steve drops off the top onto Bagwell's exposed belly
with while the ref beautiful elbow.
It's awesome.
Beautiful form.
And his back is kind of like Bagwell's back is kind of like arched, so his stomach is up and exposed, and and so Pillman then gets the pin when the ref turns back around. That was a pretty exciting finish to a pretty exciting match. So that was great to see. After this, we get the first video package with Sting in a helicopter. I wonder what this is all about. So we won't cover that again, but that was great. And then we're back to our annoying green screen announcers, Bischoff and Johnny B. Bad, confirm that Flair is going to be here tonight. So Missy's trying to get an interview backstage, but she just misses him getting out of his limo. There's some comedic timing stuff going on.
Yeah, it's awkward. They're like, "Come with us, ma'am," and they sweep her away, and then Flair comes out, and then she comes back out, and where is he?
She's really dumb. It's okay.
So yeah, this is Ric Flair's grand return to WCW after several years in WWF. It's kind of an interesting story how he comes back. Flair had a verbal agreement with McMahon that if he was going to be taken out of the main event circulation, that if he had another offer, he would be allowed to leave, and Vince would break the contract for him to leave. And after they decide that Flair was going to move to a mid-card position, and at that point, Flair asks for his release from WWF. And so he does a loser leaves WWF match against Mr. Perfect at the Royal Rumble in 1993. Actually, no, that's on Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry. And he completes out the European tour that they were doing that winter, and he does his last house show in WWF on February 11th. And then he shows up at Super Brawl 3 on February 21st. But because of a no compete clause, he cannot wrestle.
Ha! Hence just the popping out of the limo. And then he does show up on commentary on one of the later matches then. So, interesting. He looks glorious, by the way. He's in his suit. His hair is coiffed. He's strutting.
It is the flair of old.
It's impressive. Yeah. Next up is Too Cold Scorpio versus Chris Benoit. So super young Chris Benoit here. He again, another guy looks like a baby. He doesn't look as tough with longer hair, I gotta say. So I think, the buzz cut was definitely a good move later on in his career. This is actually his first WCW pay-per-view. And I wasn't familiar with Too Cold Scorpio. Again, this kind of falls in to a spot where I wasn't watching much of any wrestling, and definitely not WCW. I asked I wrote in my notes, I was wondering if he's supposed to be the Black Sting, because he's got like similar scorpion tights.
It is very interesting how like similar his look is to Sting's, minus the face paint. He's even got the same haircut, kind of. And I also wonder if he was an influence on Scorpio Sky in AEW too.
I have to imagine he took that name, sort of intentionally as an homage to Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah, because they have very similar styles. And Too Cold Scorpio is definitely ahead of his time in the way he wrestles. And Chris Benoit, the same deal. These two put on one hell of a show. That's really spectacular, and they really get the audience into it, to the point to where Ventura says they might be rednecks, but they know wrestling.
That's a backhanded compliment, I guess.
Yeah. So everything in this match just flows from one move to another beautifully. They have rest holds and then quick paces, and the pacing is nice. There is one botch of a sunset flip into the ropes. They went for the sunset flip, but they were too close to the ropes, and they ended up getting tangled, and it was kind of a mess. But they recovered, they bounced back, and Scorpio surprised me, because I'm used to him being more of an aerial guy, but he did some really great mat reversals and stuff like that. So there's like this great like old school feel to it, but also a glimpse into the future with wrestling too that happens. And despite having the no top rope action, these two guys that are known for being a bit high flyers at this point put on a hell of a good match.
Yeah, you actually messaged me while you were watching this, said this is a match from the future.
Yeah.
And there's a good mix. There's that sort of technical kind of grind down mat stuff. Yeah, Scorpio would fit right in on AEW. He does some of the flipping and the back handsprings and all that stuff. The aerial moves, Scorpio Sky definitely sort of influenced. And yeah, he's, like you said, ahead of his time. And this is a good matchup for both of these guys. There's a beauty of a back suplex from the top rope that Benoit sells as an injury to his own head, which gives Scorpio time to recover. Scorpio jumps on Benoit's shoulders for a roll-up, but then gets slammed face first onto the mat. That was a mean move.
Oh, yeah.
And Benoit drops a big leg off the second rope, which you don't see all that often. The time limit countdown starts over the PA, and Scorpio gets a roll-up like just as the time expires, which that takes some serious timing and coordination to get that just right.
Yeah, and you really didn't notice them waiting either to try and get that timing right. They get the pin in with like a hair of a second left, like just maybe a tenth of a second left in the match when the 3 count hits. It's really impressive and great timing. I really enjoyed this match quite a good deal, and it's a shame that it's so early in the card. It'd been fun to have this later in the card, in my opinion, but good show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that a time limit ending there gives Benoit a chance to say, "Oh, I was robbed," and then they can have a bounce back match if they want to. There's a little promo interview, Max Payne and Bischoff. He's talking about his shot against Dustin Rhodes later tonight. Again, Max Payne is a substitute on the card for Ron Simmons, who apparently is out with a shoulder injury. I don't know if that's a real injury or a kayfabe injury, but Max Payne is stepping in. He plays taps for Dustin on his guitar. That part was pretty cool. And then we get to Davey Boy Smith, a.k.a. the British Bulldog, versus Wild Bill Irwin. Irwin, you remember we saw as one of the long riders on Let's see. Was that the Wrestle Rock 86?
Yes. He was in the
Oh, yeah.
Long Riders there against
Yes.
Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall.
Right. We've been watching a lot of shows lately. They're starting to blend together a little bit. But Wild Bill has a bullwhip. I don't know if that's okay. I don't think it is. Davey Boy looks great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just reading about Davey Boy's short stint in WCW. This is his premiere match in WCW, and they
Oh, wow.
actually had him run near the top of the card because we were talking about how we always kind of felt bad at like Davey Boy Smith never really got the push that we felt that he really seems to deserve because he looks like $1 million. He works well. He's super strong. He's super over with the crowd everywhere he goes. Like, why isn't he ever made a champ? So, but apparently he had actually beaten Vader for the championship, but the decision was reversed at one point. So he was very close. But then at some point while they're on tour, Davey Boy Smith got in a fight with a man at a bar for making advances on his wife. And the pending legal actions caused WCW to release him. So,
oh man, well that's too bad.
Yeah, so he was only there for like a year.
What kind of idiot would make advances on Davey Boy's wife? Like, it's a monster. Why? Like, oh, here's a good guy. Look at that guy. He looks like brick shithouse. I think I'll go hit on his wife and see what happens.
Yeah. And let's not forget that his wife is like Bret Hart's sister.
Yeah. So Davey Boy could like snap your spine in half, and then Bret Hart would like twist the remainder of you into a pretzel.
Right. And like she probably knows how to defend herself. Like she'll put you in a hurting before, like she's fine. I don't need to step in and like save your career. But anyways,
she probably spent some time in the dungeon as well with the guys. But there's a couple of moments during this match where like Bill Irwin tries to match shoulder blocks with Davey. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what, you might as well just like run into a concrete pillar and see which one wins, Like,
yeah, one of the only
dumb.
notes I made about this match was that Bill Irwin's gonna die. Like he doesn't have a chance. There's no way in hell he's winning this match, and he doesn't.
He doesn't. I also noted that Bill Irwin is wearing mom jeans that are like crawling up the crack of his ass like something fierce.
He's got super high waisted jeans. Yeah.
It's not good. So Davey does his usual show of strength stuff. He does the military press. He holds the suplex for like 8.5 minutes. I don't know.
He carries him out to concessions and gets a Coke and then comes back.
Yeah, he's such a monster. He does his running power slam thing. My favorite moment in this match, though, is after an Irish whip. Jesse says, "How come they call it an Irish whip, Shivani? Does it come from Ireland or something?" And Tony says, just as straight as can be, he says, "Yes, it was invented in 1863 in a match there." What?
Like, cite your sources, Tony. Cite your sources.
Did they work that out ahead of time? Like, how does he just have that date in his head? So you're telling me during the American Civil War in Imagine Ireland, somebody invented the Irish whip and decided to call it that and imported it into wrestling. Also, why do you know that? Tony Schiavone.
Why are you just lying?
Undisputed bar trivia champion, 20 years running.
It's also a lie.
Tony Schiavone's the Michael Cole of his time.
Yeah, pretty much. Because so the only reference to this of its origin I can find is tied to this professional wrestler named Dano O'Mahony. Dano O'Mahony. Can you get any more Irish?
That's the world's most Irish name.
Jesus, he might as well just be like green and covered in clover and like selling Lucky Charms and soap.
Even Sheamus is like, come on, bro.
Sheamus is embarrassed. Like, come on. So apparently his signature move was throwing his opponent into the ropes in like the 1930s, and they started calling it the Irish Whip because he's an Irish wrestler.
So creative.
Yeah. And supposedly he's believed to be like the first like ethnic draw like wrestler that used his ethnicity as a gimmick to be the draw and to get over, apparently, supposedly. I don't know, but it's.
But he was born like 1912, so he wasn't around in 1863 to invent that.
So he was NWA champion.
Well, that's something.
Yeah. So
that's more likely than whatever the fuck Tony Schiavone just came up with.
Most likely, how to
pulled directly from his ass.
Like what were they like? Someone just wrote down like the play-by-play of a wrestling match in 1863 in Ireland. He used the, what should we call that? Oh, the Irish whip.
Wouldn't they just call it the whip?
Right. It's just a whip. He whipped him into the corner. And because it happened in Ireland, it's an Irish one. Damn it, Tony.
I don't like it.
I really love Tony Schiavone, though, but
yeah. Like if you go to Brazil and you're like, hey, could I have a Brazil nut? They'd be like, we just call them nuts.
Yeah. And what's also amusing, though, is that Jesse Ventura acts like he knew that and says, very good, Tony. You've been doing your homework. I'm proud of you.
They didn't even have Wikipedia in 1993. There's no way on earth that's a real thing.
No, maybe we can get like a 1992 Encyclopedia Britannica and see if Irish whip is in there and see what it says.
Somehow I doubt it. But
yeah,
Davey Boy wins this one, shockingly.
Yeah.
Bill Irwin does not win this one, despite bringing up a whip to the ring.
No. Jesse mentions that British Bulldog looks like a Rastafarian with that hair. And for some reason, Tony says there's no Rastafarians in Asheville. And
that is false.
Yeah, it's like, have you been there, Tony? Maybe it wasn't quite the hippie blueberry into tomato soup kind of city back in 1993, but nowadays, holy shit.
Yeah. Wait, they put blueberries in their tomato soup?
It's a metaphor for being a blue democratic city surrounded by red Republican.
I got it.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Right, I got it. I didn't follow. Like, there's lots of cities like that.
It's gerrymandered. Anyway. It's gerrymandered.
Yeah. We don't get political on the show if we can help it. But I mean, in terms of political statements, Bill Irwin's mom jeans, I am opposed. I am opposed to those.
Man, we think he still has weights in his boots.
Man, I hope he does. It maybe would have helped him a little bit, but
yeah, for real.
So, next up we got Paul Orndorff. Yay, Mr. Wonderful. Look, that dude is an absolute stud. This is like at least 6-7 years after his major WWF heyday, and he still looks like $1 million. He starts a promo for his match with Cactus Jack, but Foley comes charging through the curtain wielding a shit shovel and chases poor Mr. Wonderful down to the ring with the shovel, so he doesn't even get to finish his promo, and he gets chased by a shit shovel. That's not very nice. But this is a Falls Count Anywhere match with Cactus Jack and Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff. He doesn't actually not called Mr. Wonderful here that I could hear, but
no,
I assume that's trademarked.
Yeah, Orndorff is 44 years old.
God damn, I am also 44 years old. Listeners, I do not look like that.
Can I suplex you and body slam you onto a concrete floor?
Please do. Let's just wrap this up.
Oh man.
I don't know. There's a lot going on here. So I wrote down that this is not Orndorff's milieu, but this is not what I would consider to be his wheelhouse, but he does an awesome job here. Actually, he works really well with Mick. He does most of the spots to Mick, which is what you would want to happen in a match like this.
Yeah.
And they get it on. Yeah.
Orndorff shows a real mean streak here. He makes a good recovery after being chased by an elephant shit circus shovel. Yeah. And Cactus Jack just takes some nasty, nasty bumps through this entire match. No, so yeah, there's some mean shit that's happening in this match, and Cactus Jack is on the receiving end of almost all of it.
Yeah. Some of it he does to himself. Some of it Orndorff does to him.
Yeah.
He does a sunset flip, or attempts a sunset flip from the apron to the concrete floor. He has pulled the mat back already so that he could slam Orndorff.
It's worse than that. It's from the top rope.
Oh, is it? Oh, I missed it. I thought it was from the apron, I guess.
No,
I
he
don't.
climbed up. He goes the little bang bang. He climbs up, and then he goes for it from the top rope. And ouch,
Yeah, that looked
ouch.
really, really painful. That one was really bad. And then they fight up the aisle, and Orndorff suplexes Mick onto the steel gate, like halfway. Half of his body is on one side of the gate and halfway is on the other. Like, I thought his spine was going to break in half, and he just like flips off face first onto the concrete. And then he sits Mick up and rams his face into the gate. And Mick doesn't even like try to protect himself. He doesn't put his hands up. He doesn't throw an arm in there. He just takes it full in the face.
He just eats it.
Just steel barrier, meat face.
Yeah. And then eventually they do make their way back to the ring, and Orndorff gets a steel chair, and he starts his pounding on Cactus Jack's leg, on his knee with the chair. Just
Yeah, he takes off Mick's knee brace and chokes him with it.
Yeah.
He's really going to work on that knee, and Mick's selling it like crazy. Orndorff then calls for the pile driver, and he does I'm not even going to describe them, but the little gesture that he does, it's supposed to signify the pile driver. It doesn't look like that's what he's doing.
It looks like
and then
he's masturbating.
it does.
A large dick. Like
Maybe
the dick that goes with that elephant shovel.
This is the reason that we don't put up video of our show. You don't want to have to see the face that Rich is making right now. But yeah, watch it. You'll see what we're talking about. But then he does the Hulk Hogan like listening for applause move, right? Like the waving the hand, putting it at his ear. But while he's goofing around, Mick gets the shovel and knocks him cold. But Orndorff, unlike Mick, actually gets a hand up because he's not a complete maniac.
Yeah.
So he doesn't just eat a shovel shot to the face for the fuck of it.
He eats that massive shovel to the face, and 1, 2, 3, bang bang, bang bang, Cactus Jack gets the win, bang bang.
I liked this match actually. I was excited to see Paul Orndorff. I'm always excited to see Mick Foley. I don't know how Mick is still alive, let alone walking. But whatever he's made of, they need to bottle it.
Yeah, good Lord. Ooh.
Let's see. Are we ready to move on next match here?
Yeah, I think so.
We got the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, all-time classics, versus the Heavenly Bodies, Dr. Tom Pritchard, and Stan Lane. The Heavenly Bodies are there with Jim Cornette in their corner. Bobby Eaton is also here with the Heavenly Bodies. They have a sort of three-man Freebird rule thing going on, but the NWA, this is one of those cases where they break out the rule book. They said the NWA said there are only 2 allowed at the ring for this match, so Eaton gets sent to the back. So right from the start, the Heavenly Bodies are pissed off and also seem a little bit like jerks. Seems like they're trying to get away with something.
Absolutely, dicks. They're always trouble. And Cornette, that pesky Cornette he's a troublemaker.
Yeah, what a spoiled jerk.
Supposedly, this was supposed to be the Wrecking Crew versus the Rock and Roll Express. But Bill Watts had made an agreement with the commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Bob Armstrong, to have the Heavenly Bodies come over for a match.
Huh. Interesting. Who was in the Wrecking Crew? I don't remember.
Let's find out.
While you do that, Cornette generates some really great heat with his move where he hugs his guys like, oh, it's okay, guys, it's okay. And he hugs them whenever something bad happens. And man, the crowd hates it. They holler and scream quite a bit. There's some really good back and forth action throughout this one. Did you figure out the Wrecking Crew?
I'm working on it. It's kind of confusing because it looks like there was a solo wrestler named the Wrecking Crew in WCW.
That's all right. We'll fix it in post.
The Wrecking Crew consisted of Rage and Fury, aka Al Green and Mark Laurinaitis. With Al Green, apparently, it looks like.
A soul singer?
No, he was actually, his real name was Alfred DeBallo.
I like the other one better.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yes.
times are good and bad,
Yeah.
happy as
So
sad.
another thing I'm going to have to probe is that like Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I thought that was actually Cornette's promotion, right?
No, that's OVW. The
Well, he was put in charge of OVW, but I thought Smoky Mountain
oh
was his actual promotion and like was actually being used as a development for WWF. Because we also
nice.
see the Heavenly Bodies show up on at a WrestleMania that we watched.
Yeah.
With Cornette.
All right, so maybe we can do some judicious cutting here and fix that later.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Whatever.
Yeah.
Heavenly Bodies versus Rock and Roll Express, or we just leave it like that. It'll be fine.
Well, there's some really good rock and roll, of course. Playing Ricky Morton, right? Poor Ricky always gets his ass beat for a long time. That's kind of his job. He's made a career out of it. Yeah. They get a really sweet comeback with a double clothesline and then a double drop kick, and then they slingshot Cornette into the ring just for good measure to give him a good stomping. But Pritchard attacks from behind.
Yeah,
that's the end of that one.
Then Eaton jumps in too with an elbow from the top rope. He shows up out of nowhere. You actually don't see him come in. Yeah, there's some messy camera work during this match. So like we miss Tom Pritchard taking an atomic drop and colliding with Stan Lane when he's trying to get in the ring to interfere. I was really impressed by Jim Cornette selling on the outside of the ring during this match. He was very enthusiastic, very into it. Pounding on the mat and screaming. He takes a couple good bumps too. Yeah. I'm still stuck on how big of a pop the Rock and Roll Express got coming into that show. I mean, yeah, it's their territory, but Jesus, that was. I think they should rename the Road Warrior Pop to Rock and Roll Express Pop.
Yeah, the crowd was super into them. They were and the pop they get at the end when they finally get the win was incredible. So what actually happens here is Ricky has Pritchard pinned. Eaton comes in again out of nowhere and tries to jump in, but Ricky moves out of the way and Eaton hits Pritchard instead. But then, and this is the part that impressed me, Gibson is actually the legal man, so he dives over for the pin and to get the win. That would have been an easy one to fuck up, right? And all the chaos there.
We've seen that fuck up happen.
Yeah. It's like, saw Dr. Death and the Road Warriors get into it.
Yeah.
But that was great. Like that's tag team know-how and skills right there.
Yeah. This match too is just incredible because this match is 13 minutes long, and for 12 of those minutes, Ricky Morton is in the ring. Like he's the legal man for like all of this match except for the very end, and he just gets his ass beat not the entire time, but for a solid portion of it. And I was just stuck there staring like, I can't believe that's really his hair. Like, is that really Ricky Morton's hair? Like, it doesn't look real.
No, it looks like a Halloween Spirit 80s rocker wig.
Yeah, or like someone removed Joe Dirt's wig and really cleaned it up nice and really restyled it. And like,
that's terrible.
It's next to Flair. It is the most glorious mane in pro wrestling at this point, I think.
Wow, that's a big statement. Well, we kind of fucked up the description of this match, but it's a really good match. Some beautiful chaos, lots of action, great work by Jim Cornette, huge reactions from the crowd. So the match is actually better than our description of it, which is not usually the case. Usually these descriptions are just so much better than the actual match because we're just such masters of this art form. But
we also missed the hot tag because of the camera.
I don't know what the fuck that camera guy was doing. Like
he was staring at at Cornette pounding on the ring, and we totally missed the hot tag to Robert Gibson, which is heartbreaking. That's why you watched the Rock and Roll Express.
That's the whole story. Yeah.
That's the moment. But yeah, our coverage of this match has been as chaotic as this match actually was. So
yeah,
I think we've done a fair representation of it.
After that, we get another segment of the Sting saga, and he has reached the White Castle. There are no hamburgers in sight, but it is sexy. There's some sexy time going on at the White Castle.
I don't understand at all what's happening.
It's not even 30 seconds. It's like it's 20 seconds. I swear.
And it's like super close-ups too.
Yeah,
like very like deep close-ups, like straight on camera, center camera close-ups of Sting and Vader, and like Vader breathing and Sting going, huh? And like
huh is the appropriate reaction.
Huh?
Seriously, if somebody hasn't cut those together to make a little short film, please do that. I don't have the video editing skills. You need to make that happen for America. I mean, I'll Google that after we're done. Next up is Dustin Rhodes again versus Max Payne, who is here as a sub for Ron Simmons. This is a WCW United States Heavyweight Championship match. I really, really wish we had gotten Dustin versus Ron Simmons.
Oh my God.
Infinitely more entertaining than this. It's not bad.
And Max Payne just isn't selling very well to Dustin through this whole match. And Dustin tries. Dustin comes out flying with haymakers and pounding on him. And like Dustin has this big, tough flying clothesline on him and stuff. But it's just like Max is underwhelming through the entire thing, which is sad because Dustin is working so damn hard in this match.
He runs the ropes like a goddamn sprinter. Like he's so fast. I was really impressed. I also noted that you can see, like we were talking about Steve Austin, here with Dustin, it's his arm drag. So you can see his later Gold Dust stuff when he does that arm drag. And you can also see Cody in that arm drag too, which is interesting.
And the throat jabs too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he is doing his best. He's just not Matt Payne's just not giving him anything. The crowd is not into this one at all. No. Jesse is making excuses for why Max isn't doing so well. It's like he knows it's not a great match either. He's talking about, well, he's tired and he was a substitute, and I don't know what else he says. But
he's from the state of Euphoria.
That's not a state.
It's a presence of mind.
Deep.
Yeah.
So this one ends when Payne gets disqualified for roughing up the ref.
He literally just like grabs the ref by the shirt and pulls him into the grapple, and that's it.
You can't do that.
No. It's like, well, that's a disappointing finish after a disappointing match.
Yeah. So Dustin gets the win and keeps the belt because it's a DQ. Payne keeps going to work on Dustin after the bell. Dustin recovers and does a back rake on him, which is just one of those moves that just cracks me up every time. Like, please, someone please scratch my back like that. I'm like permanently itchy. I need a Hulk Hogan or now a Dustin Rhodes back rake to help me out.
Yeah, this is one of the matches where they make a very poignant announcement that this match is to be fought under the WCW rules and not the NWA rules. So, yeah, where they point out that you cannot jump from the top rope onto a prone opponent because they don't like fun in WCW.
Also, they probably didn't want Max Payne jumping off the ropes. I'm just going to put that out there.
That would have been something to see in this match, at least. I would have supported that.
You watch a fat man break both of his ankles. There's another Sting segment. Are you ready?
Huh?
Sting. We're still in the White Castle of sexy time, and very close up of Sting, and he says, "There's something very familiar about all of this." And then Vader screams, and a mirror breaks. And I wrote, "Am I on drugs?"
Huh? What?
Oh, I love it. I love everything about it. It's amazing. It is cinema with a capital S.
Wow.
Right. Exactly. They introduce Flair, comes down to the ring, hops on commentary. Huge pop, beautiful hair, nice suit.
And he cuts a great promo. He delivers this amazing line. The lights are bright and the city's on fire, and now they're fighting for the title I never lost.
Man, what an artist.
Don't know what any of that means. I don't know what anything that any like thing means in this show. The Sting clips, the the Flair promo of like the city's on fire. I okay. I love it, but okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get on. And so he's going to do commentary for the next match, which is Barry Windham versus the Great Muta, who has Hiro Matsuda in his corner. This is the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match. There's a really official boxing style explanation of the rules. Windham yells, "Make sure he understands the rules," which is a little bit rude. Like, yeah, he's an immigrant. He's learning. You know, he's working on his English. It's okay. You liked this one, didn't you?
I did. It's a good contrasting styles of fighting, but they both worked well. Muta is super fast. My God, like Bruce Lee like speed. And like Muta has got this great outfit that he comes to the ring in. It's like white. It's like a white ninja sequin outfit with red trim that's got like dragon designs on it. It's pretty spectacular. And then like Wyndham comes out and he's just like a big stomping son of a bitch walking down to the ring. Just like that dude is huge. But both of them show really great rudimentary techniques. And yeah, this match is a slam him, pound him, then suddenly super fast drop kicks and chops off the ropes and stuff like that, and then suddenly back into grinding as like Wyndham just like puts his weight on top of Muta like constantly, just pounding and pounding and pounding on him.
Yeah, they are a really good contrast. Muta looks super cool. He's got that red and white face paint. It starts off fairly one-sided, except for a couple of sort of interspersed offensive moves from Muta. So Wyndham has the upper hand for quite a bit of this. He gets a sleeper on Muta for forever. He's using the ropes for leverage, and Flair approves of that sort of thing, obviously. Jesse thinks Wyndham isn't applying enough pressure to the carotid artery, which I like. I appreciated that.
And Ric Flair thinks all those Japs are tough.
Oof.
Okay,
next.
Flair, thanks. But I'm sorry, Ric Flair and Jesse do make a big deal like every like 3 minutes of this match that this is the first time that they've met and this is the first time they've been together on commentary. And then Tony Schiavone always has to chime in, and I'm sitting between them. Good job, Tony. Thank you.
Does anybody care? I mean, was anybody really asking for the Ric Flair, Jesse Ventura compilation album? Or
no, like is there some sort of like flow chart out there that indicates every time that they've crossed paths but not met or something?
6 degrees of Jesse Ventura.
Someone's keeping track at home. And like, there's some guy named Bill sitting in like a ratted out lazy boy with like a 6-pack of beer on his lap and another 6-pack in the cooler next to him going, "I told you, Margaret. I told you, Jesse and Rick never been together until right now. And they just said it. I told you. Damn it. Go out and give me another pack of Marlboros."
Martha, you never listen. I'm not sure where this is going. Muta's lost almost all his face makeup by the end of this thing because they go at it a long, long time. They stand in the center of the ring and exchange chops, which is something you see on modern wrestling. It's one of those things that drives certain people crazy, where you just kind of stand there and chop each other. But they don't overdo it here, I don't think. Wyndham goes for a superplex, but Muta sort of comes back and like chops him off the turnbuckle and then drops a chop on top of him. There's some great stuff in here. There's a sloppy backbreaker because Wyndham is too damn tall and like Muta can't quite get him around the whole way. Like the dude is like 6'8". Why are you trying to pick him up?
Muta could be like Barry Windham's ventriloquist dummy in this match.
He's huge. He misses a moonsault at one point, and I think he tries it again, right, and misses it again. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I was kind of fading in and out because it was getting a little bit long.
It does get a little long. It's because there's a lot of these like grinding down moves that every time that Wyndham puts on Muta, Jesse points out that can give Muta a cauliflower ear. Like he points out that's a move that'll give you a cauliflower ear like 3 or 4 times in this match. And he's probably right, because I mean, Barry Windham's giant arms are just squeezing Muta's head and grinding away in these really tough looking sleepers and headlocks and carotid artery holds.
Well, I guess Jesse's probably trying to get his cauliflower ear awareness campaign off the ground here. That's probably his main reason for being here.
Yeah, what color ribbon is the cauliflower ear awareness month?
It's mostly white. It's got a little like green at the base. Cauliflower. I missed the finish because I was again fading out, but Wyndham does get the win here. Did you catch the finish?
Yeah, so Wyndham suddenly lands a big DDT out of nowhere and pins him. It's like an NWA finish, like they're at a stalemate, and then suddenly this DDT and pin comes out of nowhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty cool moment afterwards where Flair brings the belt up to the ring to present it to Wyndham, and he even steps behind him and like straps a belt on him, and he does this they do this little stare down, and then Flair just kind of like nods and like walks out of the ring, but he's like doing just a little bit of his strut walk. Like there's just a little bit of a bob on his heels, but not enough that you'd really view it as taunting, but it's still there. That part was incredible. But he's like, all right, here's your belt, but you're on notice. That's my belt. I'm coming back for it. Like that part was freaking incredible.
And you can feel like the crowd is just wanting them to hit each other. But we know that Flair's in a non-compete contract, so he can't hit him. He can't do anything, which actually builds better tension. And like, I'm not sure if I'd want to see a Ric Flair versus Barry Windham match, but I am really curious.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a little research and see what else out there. But yeah, I agree with you. It's better to not let them fight just yet. Let's just cool it a little bit. They don't even have to say anything mean to each other. It's just
right, because Flair is actually kind of face at this moment because he's returning. The triumphant champion returns back to North Carolina and stuff like that. It's a welcome home for him, and it's a very nice. You have this warm feeling from it, not a like, oh shit, this guy's back. More of a, oh thank God he's back kind of moment. So
well, and he was always a heel, literally everywhere except North Carolina, right? So
right,
there's always that built-in hometown crowd for him. All right, I'm really excited about this finish, this main event, and we get another beautiful cinematic treasure right before it. We're back in Sexy Time Ice Castle. Vader says, "Mr. Race, the strap!" And Harley throws one end to him and throws the other end to Sting. And then the implication, I guess, is that they're going to pull each other into the ring for this White Castle of Fear strap match. Oh, that's what you were talking about yesterday, Chick-fil-A of anxiety. I didn't. Rich messaged me that he was going to the Chick-fil-A of anxiety, and I thought maybe the Chick-fil-A just made him nervous. I didn't remember my own joke. That's okay. Sorry, I'm dumb.
The Wendy's of happiness.
The Burger King of high blood pressure. That's more like it. But anyway, this is a non-title, lights out, leather strap match, not sanctioned by the WCW, not safe for anyone under 14. Pregnant women shouldn't handle it. Dogs and cats need to leave the room. You have to drag your opponent to each of the four corners, and you're tied together by a leather strap. So the stage is set. We've had a cinematic masterpiece getting us to the moment. There's a sign alert that says, "I've been stung by the stinger." It makes me wonder if Sting's wife knows about that. And
you're in trouble, Stinger.
You're in trouble. You're son of a stinger. And a really good contrast in appearances and styles. Like Sting looks super cool in his flat top. He's got his purple and yellow makeup and his tights. Vader is there, very no nonsense, singlet and his mask, just looking like a complete beast. Harley Race looks like everyone's grandpa with a suit that he got from the Goodwill. Nobody wears brown suits like old guys in the 80s. Or the 90s. That's just a fact. But this is a really good gimmick, I think, to
Holy
put these
crap.
guys,
Yeah.
because Sting's whole advantage is his speed and being able to like get out of the way of the monster Vader, but that's eliminated by having them tied together, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always not quite clear on like the rules of the four corners matches. Like, you got to take your opponent with you, but if they're strapped together, so does that count? Like, can you just like knock the guy out and just leave him laying in the middle of the ring, and then just walk around and touch each of the corners real quick? Like,
No, you got to drag him to the corners with you.
I don't understand what do you mean by dragging, because like there seems to be a very loose interpretation about how much distance needs to be between your opponent in this match for it.
Well, that's a good question. Like, could you could you? I don't know. It's a good question.
Regardless of these rules or whatever, this match is violent as hell. Jesus.
It's a thing of beauty. It's fucking awesome. Like, I didn't know really what to expect, but this thing, man. Yeah. So Vader starts with some strength moves. He yanks Sting like the whole way across the ring by the strap, and then he like reels him in like a big fish, and he reels him in for a clothesline. And then Sting wraps up Vader's leg in the strap and then goes on the offensive. Eventually, he's able to take him down with some chops and punches, punishment,
Yeah.
and a nice drop kick to the side of the head. Did you see that kick? Like he
Yeah.
lays his foot right along Vader's head. Like that was awesome.
Yeah. It was everything in this match is stiff and tough and mean. I didn't take a lot of notes just because my jaw was on the floor through this entire thing. Like I couldn't stop watching to like actually type notes. So like at one point Vader looks like he's going to like powerbomb Sting, but then Sting back body drops him out of it without any kind of assistance from Vader. Like, holy shit, is Sting strong? Like, Vader's 450, and I don't think they're lying about that weight for him. Good God, there's
Yeah,
there's
it's
blood
transfixing.
everywhere at some point
Yeah.
in this match. The whole ring like mat is pinkish bluish red by like halfway through this match. There's just so much blood.
So that's actually a good question. So the part that gets the first color is after that drop kick, Vader is sort of down on his face on the mat. Sting pulls the singlet down so he can get to Vader's back, and then proceeds to start whipping him with the strap. And I don't think that actually cut him open. I think maybe Harley bladed him when he fell out of the ring after that. Did you catch that?
I didn't. I was so transfixed and sucked in. All I saw was like, oh shit, Vader's back is actually bleeding. I don't know, because like the marks that were there look legitimate, and the blood looked consistent to be like how it was. Like it didn't look like it was cuts. It looked like the whipping on the back had been so brutal that the skin broke, kind of thing.
Yeah, could be
from like a lashing. Like I've never seen anything like this.
There's a nice shot of this nice old lady in the crowd when Sting's doing the whipping. This little old lady's like pumping her fists and going, "Hit him! Hit him! Hit him!"
The bloodlust is real in Asheville.
I think they flew her in from Chicago, because those are the people that we saw last time. Harley Race tries to come in to help, but gets whipped in the head. And then Sting pulls Vader into the post twice using the strap. Again, he's bleeding all over the place. Sting body slams Vader on the floor, and he starts dragging him to the 4 posts. He gets to 2, and then Vader sort of wakes up and pulls him into the gate, and then that resets the count. So basically, anytime your opponent starts an offensive move, then you have to restart the count. So he they go back in the ring, and Sting gives Vader like a Samoan drop. Is that the back body drop you were talking about?
No, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, he just puts this dude up on his shoulders, and like it's super impressive. Vader makes his comeback. He's got a couple of power moves, and you can hear Harley outside the ring going, "Do you like it, Sting? Do you like it?" It's so fucking awesome. He starts whipping on Sting with the belt then, and Jesse says, "This reminds me of you with your children, Tony." And Tony tells him to shut up. He doesn't like that.
Oh, God. Come on, Jesse. You're not with Gorilla Monsoon anymore in the 80s. Like, you can't be talking like that.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, I appreciate heel commentary, but like a lot of the time I feel like Jesse is just like saying jerk things that don't actually have anything to do with what's going on. Like,
Not at all.
I mean, like, it's annoying. I wrote down that I think Sting is dead at one point. I said, I bet he wishes he was back on that helicopter with those sweet ass sunglasses and the sexy ladies.
Vader starts bleeding from the head at some point. Like, is it his ear that's bleeding, or?
They say it's his ear, and I think it came when Sting pulls his mask off. I think he maybe like tore a bit of his ear or something. I couldn't tell exactly what happened.
It's like, Jesus, that thing was a gusher. Like, I think he hit his carotid maybe on that one. I don't like, good God. And at some point, Sting picks Vader up onto his back and carries him around the ring and like hits 3 of the corners and then collapses when he trips over the downed ref.
Yeah.
Just short of the 4th corner.
With a little bit of help from Harley Race. Harley kind of trips him up on that last one. That's insane.
Yeah. And Sting also German suplexes Vader. Like, how strong is this motherfucker? Like, I can't fathom how strong this guy is to be doing all of this, plus getting whipped by a leather strap. Like, this match is unbelievable.
Yeah. And, you met Sting. He's not that big of a guy.
No, I'm taller than him.
Yeah.
I weigh more than him. I mean, but yeah, this, Jesus Christ, this guy is just like picking up a 450-pound man, dead weight on his shoulders, and carries him around a 20-by-20 ring. The
other thing that impressed me here is, so Vader, Leon was known for working pretty stiff, right? Like, he was known for kind of like actually beating the fuck out of guys in the ring. And it's sort of, some people didn't like to work with him because of that. But it feels like Sting here is like, we're going to do this for real. Like, it's like that Nick Bockwinkel match.
Yeah, there's no doubt that everything in this match is real.
Yeah, they're wailing each other. There's a couple of times where they exchange like shots in the corner, where he's like rocking him with body shots or whatever, and they do it back and forth both ways, and like just knowing Vader's style, like that couldn't have been a good time. I'm pretty sure Sting was pissing blood after this match.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need that ice bath after this one, and some stitches and some therapy.
So after Sting gets tripped up, I think maybe Vader gets one more move on him, and then he drags Sting by the foot to all 4 corners and touches them all. And he gets the win. Vader gets the win and gets a ton of heat from the crowd.
Well, the win is bullshit. The win is bullshit. So, like, he hits all 3 corners, and then Sting starts to resist, and Sting kicks at Vader, and Vader falls backwards into the 4th corner, and the ref calls that the touch. And that's the win.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's not Sting used an offensive maneuver. Come on, man. Be consistent with your rules. That's the only thing that I'm probably like upset about with this match, is that the rules are inconsistent and not very clear. But other than that, this match is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's 21 minutes of brutality. But it's not just brutality. I think there's great storytelling. Again, this sort of the all-American hero, the muscle boy from California versus this ice castle monster. From the Burger King of the diabetes. And Harley Race is out there causing chaos. Everything about this match is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And it's my pick for best match of this card, actually.
Same.
It blows everything else away, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of close with the Chris Benoit Too Cold Scorpio. Like, that match is also great. but I think Vader versus Sting, just because of the spectacle and the holy shitness of the whole thing, is quite incredible, and you don't see something like that a lot. So
Or ever.
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a more violent match.
No. Yeah, I had actually written down Too Cold Scorpio and Chris Benoit as my second as well, which is fantastic. Did you have a worse match from this one?
Yeah, Max Payne versus Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, that's
That
disappointing.
match just wasn't enough there. It didn't serve its purpose of a title defense match, of a proper title match. Like, we knew Davey Boy Smith versus Bill Irwin was going to be a squash match. It has to be, because you're debuting fucking British Bulldog. But the Max Payne versus Dustin Rhodes, it's a title match, and it just doesn't get there, which is sad.
Yeah, that was disappointing. There's not really any terrible matches on this card, actually. I mean, that one's disappointing. I was not into Barry Windham and Muta the way that you were. That one kind of bored me a little bit, but I would probably pick the Dustin Rhodes one as well as my worst.
Yeah, I mean, the Muta Barry Windham match got a little long. If they would have trimmed about 5 minutes off of that match, then it would have been a 3-way run for best match between Sting, Vader, Barry Windham, and Chris Benoit.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to look around and see if Dustin and Ron Simmons ever did get to face off, if he came back from that shoulder injury, and see what happened there. Did you pick an oh shit moment for this card?
I did.
I feel like I could guess.
I said, "Holy shit!" When Sting hoisted Vader up on his back and carried him around the damn ring. I couldn't at that moment. I had to stop. I just can't. I couldn't. And like, there's blood and there's a leather strap, and Sting is carrying this guy on his back like some sort of like wounded moment, like that dramatic moment in like the end of every movie about Vietnam where like the guy is carrying his
Yeah.
buddy to the chopper. It had such drama, and you're like, oh, Sting's actually going to make it, and he's got Vader on his back. He's not just dragging him, he's carrying him, and then he falls just short. It's like, and then another shit when he like, damn, he fell short. Like, that was a moment. That was the best moment of this whole pay-per-view, I think.
He could have ripped his quad off the bone like Rick Boogs did not too long ago.
Good God, yeah. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think Boogs was carrying as much weight as Sting was
No.
in this moment. And
He had
yeah.
two tiny Usos, not a friggin' monster. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of oh shit moments in that one. The blood on Vader's back, like the first time I saw that when he rolls out of the ring and after the whipping, and like, but my oh shit is actually a collective one for whatever the fuck is going on with those cinematic sequences and the White Castle and the helicopter
What?
and the tracksuit.
What?
I don't know why they I don't know why they didn't cast Sting in every action movie of the 90s after that, but that was stellar. I wonder if there's a director's cut out there of, like a 3-hour long version of that movie. Like,
What went on the cutting room floor with that thing?
yeah,
Like,
the Apocalypse Now super cut version or whatever. Okay, this is my task for this afternoon. I am off all this week, ladies and gentlemen. And so we are watching wrestling. We're recording wrestling shows, and I'm Googling all kinds of things that I probably shouldn't be Googling.
no. Because I guarantee there's a weird sex scene. I bet you there's a goat involved in this thing that got cut. Like,
I bet there's a musical performance. Oh, I bet they got the sax guy from the Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
Man.
I'm imagining there's a scene where Harley Race is milking Vader. Like,
That's disgusting.
I don't. It would be consistent really with everything that's happening in this. I'm sure there's like an evil Bond like dinner scene where like Sting and Vader are dining at a table that is ridiculously long, and Harley Race is standing behind Vader the whole time, just grimacing, and like Sting is just like, "Will you please pass the salt?" and Vader's like, "Ah!" and like, and then like one of those buxom ladies that are in the video comes over with the salt for Sting and sits on his lap, and like it's all weird, and like Sting's in like a now a silver jumpsuit, like futuristic, like
It's his good dinner jumpsuit. Yeah.
right. He's and like Vader is just ready to kill him, and it's
I bet Vader has like a black and silver mask to go with his evening tux. I mean, I hope he does anyway.
oh for sure. And the tux is red. The tux is red and black.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's weird. There's nothing but weird happening. I think the closest thing I can think of to it is the tunnel scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, it's totally that.
And the chicken getting beheaded in the background and shit, and like the boat ride. Nope.
1,000 childhood nightmares are born. As we always do, we like to just take a moment to pay tribute to the men and women that we've seen in this wrestling event who are no longer with us. So our in memoriam section for Super Brawl III from 1993 includes Flying Brian Pillman, Chris Benoit, Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Hiro Matsuda, Big Van Vader, Harley Race, and announcer Gordon Soley. So that's our episode for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. As always, you can find us on the web at allthewrestlemanias.com. Shoot us an email at allthewrestlemanias@gmail.com. Find us on the Twitters at WrestleManiaPod. You can check out our Facebook and Instagram presences. We've post fun stuff that you can interact with. We have a round table. We have good discussions on there. So take a look. Send us your thoughts. Thanks for listening, and so long, everybody.